Awesome. All right. We are at 12:05. We're going to let everyone else pour in, but we are going to go ahead and get started. And we are also recording today's session. So we will hopefully post this on YouTube afterward and to our LinkedIn page. So if you want to share this with any colleagues that were not able to make it, please go ahead and do so. That would be awesome. So let me go ahead and get everything ready to go. All right, perfect. So, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our webinar today for Demystifying AI Adoption in Education with Nectar and Los Angeles Pacific University. We're so excited to have you. I'm going to quickly go into intros from our team and from LAPU as well, so that you know everyone who is sitting here today. So, I'll go ahead and kick us off. My name is Kavita Guy. I am the co-founder and CEO here at Nectar. And Mike, I will popcorn over to you.
All right, I'm Mike Wilday. I'm the manager of Learning and Technology Solutions at Los Angeles Pacific University. Vicky?
Hi, everybody. My name is Vicky. I am the Chief of Staff at Nectar, and I'm here to help answer any questions in the chat, so send them along. Popcorn over to Jordan.
Hey all, I'm Jordan. I'm the co-founder and CTO of Nectar and also going to be helping answer questions. Ryan?
Hello, I'm Ryan Riffner. I'm the Senior Instructional Technology Specialist at Los Angeles Pacific University. And Chloe.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Chloe. I am one of the community manager here at Nectar and here to also answer any questions that you may have.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. So for everyone who is here, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to put them in the chat and then someone from our team will answer it. But we'll also leave some time for Q&A at the end. So if you want to speak out loud at that point or have your questions answered for everyone, more than happy to do that. But let's go ahead and jump straight into it. So first, I'm going to go through a quick agenda so that you know what we are going to cover in today's webinar. So really what we're here to talk about is what does it actually look like to adopt AI technology and scale it across an entire campus? And we're specifically focusing on higher ed, but a lot of what we're going to talk about can be applied in K-12 as well. And so we're going to be focusing specifically on the student and the teacher experience. What is it that we want to be measuring when we're looking at success of these AI tools? And what should you be talking about when you're looking at the different tools that you could be using and the different use cases for them? So we're going to first start off with a really brief introduction of Nectar. Who are we? Where did our company come from? And then I'm going to hand it over to Mike and Ryan to take us through a little bit of where is AI in higher education today? What are the different applications of it in the classroom and across campus? And then what does it actually look like to implement this technology? And what are some of the challenges that you might run into? And how did you overcome those? And then, most exciting part, we'll actually see Nectar AI in action. So we'll look at those course assistants that LAPU built for every single class on campus. And then we'll see how quick you can actually build your own AI assistant within the Nectar AI platform. And then after that, we'll leave it open for Q&A. So that's a great time for us to chat about any questions that you have about this process that we didn't get to cover in today's webinar. So let's go ahead and hop straight into it. So just a little bit about Nectar and how this all came about. My co-founder Jordan and I started Nectar 6 years ago when we were undergrad students at UC Santa Barbara. So for us, this company was born from a mission of building the classroom that we felt that we and our teachers deserved. For me personally, I am autistic and I have ADHD, so no classroom that I've ever been in before in my life has felt comfortable for me or my brain to be in. And then I got to college and I started paying $40,000 to be very, very uncomfortable. And that's when it finally became enough of a pain point that I said, either I'm going to drop out or I'm going to do something about it. And 6 years later, we have now raised over $6 million in VC funding to build the classroom of the future. And every single thing that we build, we do it hand in hand with colleges and universities from around the nation. So rather than saying, even though we went through the problem ourselves, we'll never assume that we know the correct answer or the solution. We want to work with educators, with students and staff and admin to figure out what are the actual pain points that you have on your campus and in your classroom right now, and how do you best want that solved? What is the actual scalable and affordable technology that you can adopt that every other school can too? That's really how you build the classroom of the future in my eyes. It is technology that is accessible and affordable, but is still modern and meets everyone where they are, because that's really how you start to see our education system start to change for the better. So with Nectar AI, our flagship tool that we built and released this year, it is essentially AI infrastructure. So you can think of it as the way that you adopt LLMs like GPT-4o or Claude to create custom AI assistants that you can then put into the LMS at the course level. You can also spread them to department or campus wide. So that can be things like an AI course assistant like LAPU built. It can even be things like a financial aid assistant that's trained on all of your financial aid documents. It can be an onboarding guide for your staff and faculty that's trained on all of your onboarding documents. So really what we wanted to do is give you the ability to train AI on your data, but have it be completely data safe and private, so it's FERPA compliant. So it'll integrate with the LMS, makes it really easy to scale. And what we've found is this is the easiest way and safest way to implement AI technology and then scale it across the campus and even introduce new use cases once you have that first one down. So we'll explain a lot more about how this works and actually show it to you as we get into it. But just to show you some of the different ways that AI can support all of the different groups on campus, today in particular, we're going to be focusing on, like I said, the student and the instructor experience. So really, how can we improve the educational experience for both of those groups using these AI technologies? Because that's where we see the deepest need first. And like I said, the whole point of how we've built this AI infrastructure is for you to be able to scale it across the campus as you see more use cases arise. So if you just start with those course assistants, that's totally fine. You can continue using the technology to build more and more assistants because the pricing is going to be based on a per student seat. So once you've paid for that student, you can create unlimited assistants for them and they can be provisioned to any group on campus. So I'm now going to pass it over to Mike and Ryan to take you a little bit more into where is AI in the education world today and how are we thinking about using it? What are the considerations that you should have getting into it? And then the Nectar AI demo itself of how they're using it at Los Angeles Pacific University. So take it away, guys.
Awesome, thank you. I want to talk a little bit today about the AI landscape in higher ed. And it's really important to have this discussion because currently the feelings are very mixed from an institutional and a faculty standpoint on whether AI should be used and whether it should be used. But this recent study by the Digital Education Council, where they surveyed over 3,800 students across 16 different countries in both, this is all higher ed, so bachelor, master's, and doctorate students, 86% of them said that they used AI. That's not indicative of the entire population, but I would say that the majority of students are accessing, they know about, and they are engaging with AI in some shape or measure. And 51% of those students that they surveyed said that it improved their grades. And you can see here on the slide, there's several different ways that it's being used, but 56% of those same students also said it helped them to be more efficient. So the uses of AI are not just to like some higher educational members would say, just to cheat on exams or to cheat on either papers or to write papers for them. They're actually using this to improve their performance in the sense of like searching for information, checking their grammar, summarizing large documents, paraphrasing documents, similar concept, and then creating maybe a first draft to help them begin that writing process, because that can be really incredibly challenging. There's a wide variety of uses, and that kind of speaks to the flexibility for how we as educators can implement AI within our courses. There are so many unique ways to bring an AI assistant into our courses for a variety of methods. We've initially just brought it in as a course tutor, but we are exploring ways to have it become like a debate partner for a student. All of our courses are asynchronous. We'll talk more about some of the things about our university later, but like the variety of ways. It can also support our staff and our faculty. We've been exploring how they can use it as a grading tool. And so there's all kinds of flexibilities, but the core matter is our students are using AI today, and why not equip them with a safe and practical way to use it to give them the business world experience, because it is being adopted not just in education on some standard, but highly over business and corporate, which we'll touch on later too. The problem, though, is that currently faculty, their experience in AI is different. And so about 72% of faculty that were surveyed by the, I don't know the pronunciation of this, but it's the Ithaca SR group. They surveyed a series, and I don't have the numbers, but a series of professors, and they found that 72% of them had experimented with using generative AI as an instructional tool. So they've gone in and they've used it at least once in those purposes for some kind of instructional purpose. So it's kind of across the board, they've all used it in preparing their instructional materials or in some kind of way in instruction. But 42% of them have prohibited the use of AI because of fears and concerns. And 56% of those that they surveyed were on the fence on whether AI would be useful or helpful or not. And so there's this, and I've sat in on several webinars from inside higher ed and some of these other big educational companies where you could just tell, and from the conversations that were happening around the use of AI, there was some really strong feelings both for and against. But the fact of the matter is our students are using it, and we can supply them practical, safe ways to do that. And this was just an interesting quote. I think that's really important. So if you're a tech, part of a tech team that they're looking to implement this in your university, I think it's really important that one of the keys is that we build out services to support a range of AI-informed instructional uses, because it's so broad and the applications and uses are so wide, it's important that we support our instructors in a variety of levels and ways. So I just thought that was really key from that study, an important landscape item for us to consider as we move forward. But AI has some common misconceptions and concerns. AI is going to take my job. AI in education is cost prohibitive. AI in education requires a high level of tech knowledge. AI is prone to hallucination, and AI is dangerous in regard to personal identifiable information. And in some cases, yes, those things are true, but what Nectar AI has provided us is as Kavita's already talked about, but what we'll see in just a minute is most of these are misconceptions and can be combated with other truths. So like AI is going to take my job. There are aspects of our job that AI makes really quick and really easy, but the coolness of that factor is that it frees us up to do more innovative and creative things. In education, it frees us up to spend more time one-on-one individually with students. It frees us up to take a lot of those like base questions, that take our time and our energy to answer, and allows an assistant to make those things really easily accessible to the student. It frees us up to be more innovative in what we do and how we present in education. It's cost prohibitive. I think that Kavita can speak to the affordability factor. We found it to be highly affordable for us as an institution, and it creates also an equity level of equity among our students, in the sense that if these students are already going out and using this, number one, they're probably, if they can't afford to buy their own AI tool, they're probably using a free one, which then makes it unsafe. It's not trained on the content of our courses or our specific learning needs, and then it's going to potentially have a greater capability of hallucinating and creating problems, because they're just going out and finding whatever they can to use to meet the needs that they have. And so we were able to implement Nectar's product at a very simple cost, and it really levels the playing field for all of our students. We serve our demographic, which we'll talk about later, is primarily Hispanic and adult working students. And so these are people with kids and families, and their initial investments are not going to be to getting the most state-of-the-art AI technology tools. It's to get their education so they can move on in their jobs or get some kind of promotions. And so what Nectar has done is really not only helped us as a university provide tools for all our students, but it's helping our students have state-of-the-art tools that are preparing them for their jobs, that are preparing them for all those things. And then a high level of technology, we're going to show you in our demo today. Ryan was going to walk you through a demo of how to create an AI assistant. It takes literally minimal technology. You'll need a little support on the back end if you wanted, like from somebody who runs the learning management system to implement tools for authenticating through the LMS. So if the student's already in your learning management system, they can go right into Nectar. But there's also ways for you to do that outside of that kind of expertise. And so it's really simple to create, really simple to make happen. And it doesn't require a lot of people either. We're going to talk about that as well. So that's really cool. AI prone to hallucination. Nectar AI has some really cool things that we're going to walk through as we set up an assistant today that allows you to choose the level of information you allow your AI assistant to get from the World Wide Web or from its vast resource of knowledge. And you can even lock it down to just the knowledge that you train this assistant on. You upload documents or files. So there's a lot of things here that that we're concerned about, but Nectar AI has addressed most of those in their implementation of the tool by creating a FERPA compliant, safe, private experience for us. Why did we choose to implement AI? I mean, man, since 2022, it's been what, 2 years coming in November since ChatGPT and large language models were introduced to the world and made AI really accessible from a communication standpoint, where you can just talk with this thing that has this vast world of knowledge. And the business and corporate world is so rapidly adopting AI. We want our students to be ready, and the future of work is consistently changing through AI. So we want to prepare our students for what's ahead by giving them access to these kinds of tools. So that's where we are. That's the world we're living in, and that's the challenge that that we had to address as wanting to be a cutting edge university in today's day and world. We wanted to stay on trend ourselves, but also equip our students to be ready for that world that they're going to be graduating into. And we didn't want them coming from behind without that kind of experience under their belts. So Ryan, why don't you go on and share from here?
Thank you, Mike. I have the pleasure of going over who Los Angeles Pacific University is. We're kind of a little different than a lot of traditional schools in the fact that we're, well, pretty non-traditional. In fact, we are a private, non-for-profit educational institution here in California. But we have students all over the country. So in any one session, we have over 1,500 different students. And so we have people coming and people graduating. There's people constantly joining us, and we see some pretty common threads about who our demographic is, and that's the working individual. These are people that that are not necessarily coming right out of high school. We do have some that do, but we have a lot of people that are coming and joining us, and this is maybe their second or third educational institution they've come to. They're bringing in courses. They've maybe had some pauses in life, and they're having to start up again. And sometimes it can just be hard to jump right back into to maybe where you were, or even just starting at a later age into higher ed. And there's that want to build new opportunities that by furthering their education. But there can be some issues with the equity gap and making things available for that can be difficult to have that same experience and to have all of the supplies that they need. And it just can be also difficult because our students are asynchronous. We're 100% online, asynchronous learning. We do quick 8-week sessions, so things are kind of quickly moving from term to term. And so students are working on their courses at all different hours of the day, night. They maybe are doing it during their break at lunch, at work. They may be doing it during a night shift, or maybe they're just we do have some dedicated students, but we have a lot of people. They're not just dedicated 100% students. They are doing life. And so we needed something, we need tools at our institution that accommodate that, that can be available whether they're on their mobile device, whether they're on their laptop, or whatever they have with them, whatever tool they have, we want to support that. But we also need to, one of the things that we value as an institution is being financially accessible. So we keep our tuition low. And we want it to be, we want our education opportunities to be affordable for our students. So we don't want it to cost, the cost of a mortgage to go to school. But with that, you don't necessarily, as an institution, we run really lean. And so we do have limited resources, but not limited where we can't provide the right education for the right educational tools. We just have to be selective and we choose the right ones. And I feel like we've really done that with Nectar and implementing our course assistants and providing that tool for our students. Now, in our team, we are technically minded, Mike and I, but we're not technically trained, right? So we're not coders, we're not maybe some CSS, and we're learning as we go, but this wasn't our background. So we needed something to implement that when we select tools, we need to implement them in a way where we don't have to do a lot of coding. And so I feel like we've really found that with Nectar. And so with with the use of Nectar in our courses, we wanted to implement something really quickly. So what we chose it as an institution is to do an iterative development and and really build as we go. And we've definitely achieved that. And we've seen from the start of our first pilot all the way to today, we've really seen a great growth in the use of the product, but also in just how we implemented it. It's really come a long way. Another thing is we deployed Nectar with a very small team. We have 3 people on our team that we deployed this with for our whole institution. And you say, what's it going to take to implement this, right? It really did not require a big team, and it didn't require a lot of technical know-how. So that's another key thing that was important for us. Like, we don't want to be stuck in a 2-year deployment, right? We need this now. This is AI. We need this now. It's happening now. We can't wait for this. And then we need it to be accessible to students where they could get to it without having to create new accounts. And, we don't want to send them through 3 to 5 steps of online sign up. We don't need that. We want it to be accessible and easy for students. The other reason why we really wanted Nectar in our courses is, like I was saying, students are doing school at all time and hours of the night. In our case, we're using it a lot as a tutor. Well, tutors aren't necessarily available in your on-campus tutoring center all hours of the night. They want to go to sleep because they're people. In our case, we're using a tutor through our Nectar assistant named Spark, and it's available no matter when of the night. It doesn't get tired. It's constantly available. It'll talk with you for 5 hours if you want to. Or if you want a quick conversation, you can do that too. We're also, some other fun things that we're using is we've started to implement this into our course curriculum. It's not just a tool on the side that's there if you want it. We're bringing it in, we're integrating it into our courses as well. In having students be intentional to interact with our Nectar assistant. And then We're also seeing some great things, and we'll go over that in just a minute, but about retention and engagement. We're seeing some real great growth there. One of the things that we started out with Nectar was with a pilot study. And we started back in spring, and we started with a few select courses in literature and psychology, and we specifically targeted those because it kind of covers two different subsets of our students. And we had some treatment control groups, and we saw some incredible numbers. And we've seen this on the small scale, when we've also seen it on the larger scale. But just for example, we saw a growth in GPA, average final score, motivation, self-efficacy, all those different things. We saw growth not just in one, but we saw significant growth in all of them just from the use of the Spark Course Assistant using Nectar versus courses that did not have this tool. And you say, well, maybe that was a fluke, right? Well, we continue to survey those results, and we continue to see those great gains. So so it's definitely we've seen just in that spring, it was so great that we said, we need this now. And we decided to go to a full implementation. And so we went straight from that pilot right into a full deployment. Now, we did this in a very short period of time. Now, in every single term, we run at least 150 to 160 courses, and we had to go from the pilot just in, I think it was 6 courses. We went from 6 to about 160 courses implementation with 3 people in about, well, we got it done. So it was within the 8 weeks. So we were able to get it rolled out. And so in that term specifically, there was over 1,300 students, but they were enrolled in multiple courses. So we had a lot of course enrollments, and the unique courses is 99, but we have multiple sections. So we rolled that out into about 100 courses that we make several copies of, but still getting that done with 3 people in such a short amount of time is quite a feat. We focused on the just we also got the results from that. We have it here on the screen, but basically they were excellent results, and we saw such great increases in GPA, and we saw such great results from the AI assistant in our courses, and we saw several students moving up. We saw students moving up in their average GPAs, which is a great factor alone. And so going from that, you say, what is Spark? How did you implement it? Well, I'm pleased. I'm just gonna go through a quick live demo of what Spark looks like when we implemented Nectar in our courses. So here, I'm gonna switch over here to one of our live courses, actually. So this is with an actual course. This is literally in one of our courses that we are running right now. Students are using this. So this is Spark. We created Spark. This is a visual demonstration of what we as an institution wanted to kind of think of when we thought of Spark, our AI course assistant. For every student, we make it available right in the course, several places throughout the course. We also have easy access to citing it, and we also applied some feedback. A feedback loop to share feedback about it. But I'm going to jump right into Spark. Let's meet Spark. And specifically, it's loading right now.
While that's loading, Ryan, let me just share
Yeah.
a couple of qualitative comments we got from
Yeah.
students as we
Yes,
surveyed
thank
them.
you.
I think there's some pretty powerful quotes here that I just think. One student just said, "Let me say this, I have shortcomings in this course. I have my shortcomings in this course. However, my learnings are overflowing and inspiring. Personally and professionally, AI has excellent support, and my experience has been fantastic. I mean, we could have paid somebody to do that, but we didn't. We just said, hey, what's your
Yeah.
experience been using these new tools that we're giving you? And like, that is so amazing to have that kind of response. Another student said, I love Spark. Spark was the name we gave our Nectar assistant. Spark helped and actually taught the material to me, helped me understand when I had questions. Amazing tool. Like, that's the kind of feedback we get. One person said, it's like having a human tutor for me. Like, that was what we were hoping for. It actually met that goal, and we had qualitative feedback to align with that quantitative feedback. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm just gonna do a quick interaction with our Spark course assistant, and we have loaded the course content into the training for Spark in this course. And so I can ask some things like, what is this course about? And then I could also do this with assignments. It can read through the instructions that we loaded into it, and it can provide feedback about it. We even loaded our syllabus, so it can feedback or grab from all of those different sources. And that's just an example of what it can do. But here's a summary. This is actually a summary right from the content we've loaded into it. But it can also reach out to, depending on how we've implemented it, it can reach out and grab on the topic what we're talking about. And so this is just a quick demonstration of that, but we'll do a little larger demonstration in just a moment. But I'm going to jump back over to the presentation, and I'm just going to continue on here. And I believe we're back to Kavita.
There we go. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for showing that. I think it's great to actually see what we're working with. So when we're talking about overcoming implementation challenges, something that we get questions about from universities and colleges across the nation is, how have other people implemented this technology and what went wrong for them? How did they overcome that? What were the different things that they asked you in the discovery call to make sure that this technology was safe to use, that we had research that backed it up? So what I really want to do is take a moment, and if you have any questions about the implementation process or what went right or wrong, please feel free to put them in the chat now. We'd love to take this time to answer that. But would love to hear from Mike and Ryan about what you think was done to allow this implementation to happen so quickly, to go from pilot to campus wide in under 8 weeks. And then also what you would do, what you would tell other schools to do, because, you know, now we have this referral agreement with you all. You've brought us so many new schools who also want to use this technology, and they've seen the amazing results that you've gotten. So for those schools, what would you tell them when they're adopting AI technology to make sure it is just as successful as it was at LAPU?
And I would say from the get-go, just it's so flexible how you implement and I would say, like, for when we first started, we started with, you know, students just clicked a link to add themselves to the course, and it wasn't like they had to like authenticate, put in their user credentials and things like that. And then as we were going, Nectar, you guys, Kavita, your team was so helpful, Jordan, in helping us, you know, iterate the needs we had as we were going, and we got in the first initial implementation, they had to go in and log in and like set up credentials to access it. And then we eventually got access to integrate with the LMS. And so we did an LTI integration. So they just basically clicked it and they're there. So just kind of like, don't wait. You know, work to get something going. And if you're doing this from a single course and you're an instructor who wants to get this for your classes, like, you don't worry about the LTI implementation. We'll show you a little bit, like the ability to upload students and to quickly get them going in the tool is so simple. It'll send out even invites to their emails. So if you're managing this from that level to even an institutional level, the implementation of the LTI or the external tool is so simple to do. And Jordan is so helpful in walking you through getting that integrated and working, and as they work with your specific you know, things, just get started, because students are already using something. You can actually give them tools for success that align with your specific course content. Second thing I would do is most instructors have their own course materials in some kind of document format right now. You have to upload documents and things to the assistant. So if you're working on a scale where you've designed your own course and you want to add to it, just gather those documents and put them in there. Just so that it has some knowledge to work off of, and don't hesitate to give it a lot of knowledge, because it will really use that to address student concerns. Secondly, if you can partner with an IT team or somebody who has that kind of knowledge to help you get it into the LMS, it's much quicker and easier for the students on that end. But you're going to get the support you need. You're going to get the help you need from Nectar to make that happen. And then there's also, what else would you say, Ryan?
Yeah, I would say, like I mentioned, the iterative approach. If you try and get everything perfect for a launch, you're going to be waiting forever, right? It doesn't matter if it's this tool or any other tool. You're going to be waiting forever, and you're going to miss something that's really great. It's okay to be partway there, launch and make changes and grow. That's what we did. Is we've made so many little adjustments, and we're like, oh, this works better. Okay, let's go with that. And we're able to make the changes that we need to launch to make the adjustments. And so don't wait for things to be perfect before you launch, because I think that what you get from it is greater than waiting. So like, we launched it and we've made several changes to the prompts already. We're like, oh, well, the prompt works better if we adjust it this way. Okay, well, let's implement a change. And we did that, and we kind of got some feedback. We made some adjustments, and we've definitely made those changes along the way, and that's okay. It's okay to make changes and find that this works better. Okay, let's change it.
Mm-hmm. And the levels of implementation, like we said, are like really wide and vast. So if you're here and you're an institution, and you've got professors who are just against AI, find ways that you can implement it to support the student journey in other ways, because it may not be workable in your classroom, but maybe it's workable from your campus or in a department. Maybe you're a department chair and you've got that capacity to implement this for your students. It's so flexible, and there's so much out of the box that you can just grab and do with the basic prompts that are there. You could always work on it term over term, or even during the term. In our pilot launch, we had a intro to psychology assistant, and we had an open educational resource that was free to download. So we downloaded it, we put it into this assistant and trained it on. And when we say train, it's more like, this is the information we want you to pull from. And it provided such incredible responses to the students, but then it was missing some information. Like, students were asking it about jobs. And like, what can I do with this degree that I'm getting? And we were able to immediately go and find some more content. We just copied, pasted it, put it into the thing, and it was able to answer all those questions that it had, and it just became a really valuable resource to those students who were thinking about a degree in psychology and how it could affect their future and what kind of things they could get into with psychology. And we just found public websites that had information about that. We just grabbed that information and trained it on it. And it was really, really simple. It took us minutes. I mean, I got a message from the professor saying, hey, students are saying they're not able to get information on this topic. What can we do? I said, well, can you provide me 3 or 4 viable resources, public websites that we could help train it on? And so they did. And I just, downloaded the text, put it in, and then suddenly it was able to respond. And it literally took us 15 minutes to change that experience for those students. And it was really, really phenomenal. So start however you can, and think about different ways that you can do that. And I'm sure Nectar would be more than happy to help you with that process.
Absolutely. Awesome. All right. One last thing that we'll get to before we go into the actual demo of creating that assistant is just considerations for measuring the success of the implementation. So what do you think indicates success of AI technology? What are the questions that folks should be asking when they're doing these discovery calls with teams like Nectar? Anything that you have advice for on that end?
I think it'd be good. I
Go
think
ahead,
it'd be
Ryan.
good to know how you definitely want to jump into this and say, how do I want this to be utilized, right? Like, if you shouldn't just jump on board to a new tool just because. You need to have the purpose. What's your purpose behind it? For us, because we're asynchronous, because we don't have students on campus, we need something available to our students all the time. That's what we needed. What do you need as an institution?
Mhm. I would even like recommend going and chatting with an AI assistant and asking it what is the value of having AI in my class, and see what kind of responses you get, and see if that would you know encourage a use that might be pertinent, because it's so flexible. I mean, really is. You can use it for all sorts of things. We have these assistants that are trained just on the course data, so they can really support that course process. But we're working now to implement this campus-wide, where we're going to be training it on all of our student data, and eventually connecting it to our student information system, so we can get personalized information for the student on the fly very quickly, very easily. And so like there's large scale and small scale uses. In another program, we have a competency-based program. It's an instructional design technology master's degree we have that is competency-based. We have a DESI, it's called DESI, and it's basically a design assistant that our budding instructional designers can take their content and put it into it and get valuable feedback from the assistant on that on what they did or created, and help them design their learning and teaching with really strong instructional design, theories and processes, and helps refine that process. I mean, so it's really flexible what could be done. It's really, the sky is the limit. So get creative and go explore, and then really determine, like, if on a large scale you want to increase persistence in classes. I'm not exactly sure what metrics you'd use, but I know that Nectar has some great data analysts on their team that can help determine ways to determine that, and watch that persistence. But I mean, there's so many ways that it could impact the student population. So try to figure that out and determine how could the use of this tool affect those areas, and then ask questions, ask Nectar AI, ask AI itself, and just get curious, because that curiosity often produces incredible results.
Yeah, I think that the best way to get started is to do a pilot. That's what worked for us. And we're like, we saw the results live. We saw them happening right in front of our face. You do a pilot like that and you actually get results that you can see in the data, that you're like, and then you get also feedback from the students and about how much they like it. You combine all this together and you get the real sense that, hey, this is something special. And so, yeah, I would suggest get a pilot going. That's the best way to get it started.
And yes, and definitely include some kind of survey from the users of that content or that tool. That's going to give you really
Yes.
important feedback. And that's one thing that we did from the very first usage, but then also at the end of our end of course surveys, we have targeted questions related to the use of the AI tool in their course to get us very specific feedback for continuing development on those tools, to see how it impacted and where it was successful or not successful, and see how we could implement change. So support wise, you probably need to get that approved by some academic council, to have that survey done. So, get people on board, show them the power of the tool, and then let it begin to change how you teach and what you teach.
Yeah, I think that's awesome, guys. Thank you so much for covering that part, because I think you're absolutely spot on. The best thing to do is start with a pilot. We have dozens of schools across the nation who we are in pilot with right now. And it's typically just one term, one class. And what the real point of it is like you said, to prove the success and then be able to bring more stakeholders in to be able to scale it campus wide. Because if you've ever been in that process of trying to get a piece of technology on your campus, you know how much buy-in it requires. And the best way to get that buy-in is by showing the results up front. You want to be able to say, we already tried it, we saw the success, we know what's going to go right and go wrong. This is how long it's going to take to implement it. We have a team with Nectar that is ready to help us measure these different metrics of success and show us after a year of using this campus wide, how has it improved our GPA, our in-course persistence, overall student retention. That's really what we're focusing on. And so with all of the schools that we're doing pilots with, we go into it saying, what is the biggest problem that we'd like to overcome by the end of this pilot? And how are we going to measure those pieces of success with the data that you currently have access to? And the goal is to get that done by the end of the term. And that's the best part about working with AI education companies early, is that the feedback that you give us that we see from the research allows us to then go iterate the tool, add in a feature, move a button somewhere if we know that it's going to have more effect there. Those are the little things that you can't really get with much larger companies. But when you're working with boots on the ground, folks building AI education technology today, they are able to make those changes based on the research immediately in real time. And that has been an amazing process with LAPU. So much of this product has evolved because of the feedback that we got from the educators, from the students, the staff, the admin, and they can see that immediately, that feedback going right in a 24 48-hour cycle, immediately getting that feature out or changing, moving that button, whatever it is. That I think is one of the biggest impetus of implementing this technology now early on. You're going to be able to see your own feedback be in these tools that are now going to be spread campus wide and nationwide. So speaking of that, would love to get into the actual demo itself. So I know you guys are going to take us through what it looks like to build an assistant and how quick it is. So take it away.
All right. Let me jump back over here. So here we are in the administrator view, but it would be a similar for a yeah. So this is an example of what it looks like in our system. And for those that, just a quick note, for those that like dark mode, they do have dark mode, but I'm gonna stay in light mode today. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a brand new course in the system here, and it's just as simple as this. I'm just gonna create this as test course because that just seems like the best name for it today, but whatever name you would need. And then from here, I can create an assistant. We could also enroll people there if we needed to, but in this case, I'm going to do a new test assistant, and I'm going to put it into our test course. And just like that, we have an assistant. It was that quick. We have something we could actually utilize with a little bit of an adjustment here. We could do a description if you want, but I'm going to skip right past that. And the simple setup is we have in the settings here the knowledge, the prompt, and there are some things called conversation starters. In this case, I'm going to utilize the course assistant prompt that's already pre-created in here. If you have one you want to modify, this is where the course assistant or the prompt is where you shape what you want your assistant or your tutor or your writing assistant, your life coach, whatever you want it to be. This is where you set that up. This is where you give it the personality. And we have a very customized one for our institution, but in this case, I'm just going to utilize this course assistant, and I'm going to save that prompt in here. And in this case, I'm also going to give it a few knowledge documents that we're going to utilize to help give a little bit of training. And in this case, I'm going to use a course that we have here at LAPU, a psychology course, and I'm going to upload that content. It's just a simple HTML download that we used a script to kind of pull everything from the course, and then also our syllabus. And you can see right now, I'm able to upload those files. They're in the middle of training right now. Once that training is complete, you can just you can start asking it questions. And the training Depending on what you're uploading, if it's a larger PDF, it's going to take a few more minutes. If it's something simple like a small PDF or an HTML document, it's really pretty quick. Within a few minutes, you are ready to roll. And you don't have to wait on this screen. You can go do something else. You can come back. You can go work on something else. But in this case,
Ryan, before
yeah.
you move away, talk about those options up at the top
For
there.
sure. Yeah, I was moving right up to that. Thank you.
Cool.
The other thing you can do is related to this training files is the knowledge scope. How much do you want your assistant to go out to the web to grab information? Do you want it to limit it to just the documents that you uploaded here? That would be this one right here, the documents only. And the other options are topic knowledge, where it'll stay within the topic range. It'll grab some from the web, but it won't go just fully wherever it wants. And then you have general knowledge, where it can go anywhere in the world of its knowledge base for the large language model, but it also will utilize the documents. Now, both of these, it's important to note, both of these will utilize the documents. So all three actually will utilize the documents you uploaded. So in this case, I'm going to keep it on the topic knowledge. That's actually what we use with our course assistants. And you can see, oh, we actually lost one here, but it's okay. I have enough of my information here that I can get started. I probably messed up my file, but it's no problem. I can just get started here. And we can just get started with a conversation with our course assistant now that we have some information. And it's just as simple as that. There we go. And so that's it. It utilized the document that I uploaded. It's pulling the content right from, this is about our psychology course that we're implementing this is a live course that we have right now. It's running. And so it's pulling that information. We brought it right in and it's trained on it. And we can ask it questions about the course, about the topics. And if I want to know something about cognition, it's within a topic, so it's going to be able to give me that information, and it's going to be able to go and I'm going to learn about it and be able to. I'm like, I have no idea what is cognition, right? I don't know. I'm not an expert in this in psychology, but my course assistant can actually help me with that, and I can learn through this, and I can just go back and forth with my conversation. And if I find another, like Mike was saying, if you find another resource that you need to add to it, you just go right back into that training area, add additional documents, and then its knowledge base just grows. So it's just as simple as that. And you're right in to utilizing that assistant. And it's just that fast and that simple. All right. I believe we are now back to Kavita.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that quick demo. That was awesome to see how easy it is to set that up and build it. And you can see from there how you can scale those and start thinking about assistants that you maybe create as the instructor just for yourself to use to give feedback to students. So maybe you can go in and upload all of your student essays and say, hey, I want you to give me personalized feedback for each student, build a plan of action for these specific students that you designate are at risk, or help me figure out which students are at risk. So there's so much that can be done with these AI assistants. And really, like we said at the beginning, the goal is for us to give every school AI infrastructure so they can safely utilize these LLMs. So by default, we will use GPT-4o as the engine behind this. But if your school decides, hey, we would like to use, Claude Sonnet instead, or a llama model, we are happy to switch out those LLMs as you need them. So it really is future-proof AI infrastructure. We want you to be able to keep this on your campus. As new LLMs come out, you let us know, hey, we want to try out this new model. This one is really great for STEM. This is what we want to use. And you keep that same infrastructure, switch out the model, and you keep using it and keep scaling it. And that's the beauty of it. So if you have any questions, would love to answer those out loud. Please feel free to throw those in the chat. We will sit here and answer all of them for you. We also have folks from our technical team here. So if you have questions about the LMS integration or anything like that, we are happy to answer those. And while we're sitting here and we still got you, I'll go ahead and put this on the screen here so that you can visit our website or connect with us on LinkedIn and chat more. We'd love to do a more in-depth demo and discovery call with your team. and just even get feedback from you on what tools are you using and how is it working for you or not working for you. That is always so helpful for us to learn. So please book some time with us. Come meet with us over the next couple weeks. We would love to chat and hear about what you're doing in your classroom or your campus and how our technology might be able to help out.
And I'm on LinkedIn, so if you have questions or want to just dig deeper into that, just connect with me on LinkedIn and ask away. I'd love to help support, in that process. And we'd even love to help you. If you want to look at the tool before you even jump into it with Nectar, just reach out to me and we'll see if we can get you. I mean, I know we can. We'll get you into a demo that you can try out for yourself and play around with and see what's possible. Again, and the things like it took us a minute and a half for Ryan to create a working tutor right there. Sharing it out, uploading your students takes another minute. You'd have something really simply, really easily. It's really powerful how that works out. So
Exactly.
definitely
So
get in
fast.
touch. Yeah.
Totally.
And phenomenal the amount of implementations. I mean, we were working with another school who are asking us questions about our implementation, and they wanted to have it be more snarky with their students. They thought it would be more, and so they just wrote it that way. Is you write that prompt, you can modify it. And as we were building it out, we started with pretty much that basic prompt, and then we put in our course description, and we just did it in a Google Sheet. We just kind of copied in we had all of our course descriptions in a Google Sheet, and we just merged them into the prompt, and then we just uploaded that. That was our starting prompt, and it was like phenomenal. It did a really great job. And then we realized, well, it's giving a lot of answers, so let's kind of change it just a little bit. And then we want it to be more Socratic, so let's have it always respond with a question. Like it ends every statement with a question, and then like we have this really incredible assistant that's constantly challenging you to apply what you're learning, to think about it in a new perspective, and to help the students, like those quotes I was sharing earlier, help them to really grasp what they're learning and then be able to state it again in their own words, apply it to their own lives, to their own situations, their own learning journey. And it's really, really fun. And it's fun. That's cool too. Like, learning can be fun. So lots of cool stuff going on.
And also, I'll share this with you before y'all head out. Mike and Ryan are going to be at EDUCAUSE very soon, presenting some similar stuff to what you heard today, but the expanded version of it. We left some secrets for them to share with EDUCAUSE. So if you or your team is going to be there, please go and find them. They are going to be talking about their experience with Nectar AI, similar to today, like I said. So thank you guys so much for going and sharing this with the world. I think it is awesome to see. This is after working in this space, in this industry for the last 6 years, it's really cool to see how quickly schools are adopting this technology. And it's not the same sales cycles that we were seeing before. It's for the first time ever, folks are saying, I need this right now. And I want to start implementing this. I want to try this out. I want my students and teachers to use this today.
Yeah.
And I think it has opened a door for us to really build this classroom of the future. So it's really exciting to see. And I love that you guys are leading the charge and at the forefront.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kavia.
Thanks
We're
for
happy
being
to be a part
partner.
of that. So
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. So any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat and we'll stay here for a couple more minutes and make sure to answer those. But otherwise, like I said, please connect with us. You can scan these QR codes on the screen and book some time with us or just connect with us in our LinkedIn space. But we really appreciate you all for joining us today. Thank you so much. And we'll also send out this recording to all of the attendees and post this on our LinkedIn page. So if you want to share this recording with your team or any of your higher ups, please feel free to. And that way we can get them looped in and get that pilot started.
Yeah.
Awesome.